Good morning, friends. Today I hope you'll indulge me because I just want to share my heart with you. So, by way of preamble, let me mention that I try to keep my world on the small side. I actually mentioned this idea some time ago when I preached a sermon on seeking first the kingdom of God, if my own memory serves, that is. And as a result, I try to limit how much of the world I get bombarded with on a daily basis. And so, of all things, I use YouTube as a sort of pipeline to the outside world, if you will. That way I can somewhat at least control the content that comes my way, as I understand the YouTube algorithms generally only offer the kinds of things I would already watch and listen to anyway, and whatever pops up that's clearly disagreeable is pretty easily ignored. And so my YouTube feed has a couple political podcasts I'll listen to a few times a week just to keep an idea of what's happening in the political world, of course. And it's also got plenty of Christian ministries and sermons from various pastors and lectures from Christian conferences and such. And then there's the stuff that comes up about Star Wars or the Marvel Cinematic Universe or even some computer games that I've enjoyed in the past and stuff like that. And the reason I mention this is because, particularly of late, each one of those genres of life, if you will, that comes to me in my YouTube feed, it's all been stuff of controversy. Even the Christian content. You've got the stuff about Ravi Zacharias. You know, if you're unfamiliar, he's the Christian apologist that passed away not long ago, and some things have come out apparently about significant sin in his private life, and it's very, very sad. But there's been a lot of debate about it in the Christian world. You've also got issues of the broader church community trying to deal with gender politics and all the things that surround that, and more besides. And so what's been discouraging is that all those aspects of the world are coming in through this feed, and they're just all full of controversy. The political realm is obvious, of course, but even things as silly as the various movie and game franchises, there's just angst everywhere. And when I see that, I can't help but think of Romans 12:17-18, which says, "Repay no one evil for evil, but give thought to do what is honorable in the sight of all. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all." And I know I've covered these verses before, but I'm just convicted to do so again because, well, let's just take repay no one evil for evil. And for a very practical application of that, I think of the comic strip where the guy is banging away furiously at his keyboard, sweat dripping from his forehead, and his wife comes in the room and says, "Honey, it's late, come to bed." And without taking his eyes off the screen, the man says, "I can't, someone is wrong on the internet." And while it may seem extreme to equate that with repaying evil for evil, still, how often do we allow ourselves to get sucked into an argument or a fight because we can't possibly allow that other person to have the final word? We've got to come back and see if we can't dominate the conversation such that we can have the final word on the matter. And that applies whether you're on some kind of online forum or comment section, or if it's in real life, email, text, whatever it might be. And so for this morning, a simple observation, a simple encouragement, and here it is. Unless it's a matter of primary importance concerning the gospel, the nature of God, and such things like that, unless it's of those primary matters, be willing to let things go. Be peaceable people. Don't harbor bitterness or angst. Rather, have a mind set on grace and mercy, on love and peace. Be willing to forgive others, even when they don't ask for it, even when they clearly don't deserve it. And in humility, set your own pride aside, for that pride will only lead to anger, and the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. So far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. Friends, let's do everything we can to not add to the angst in the world. Let's show the world what a life looks like when that life is lived with the Prince of Peace as its master. Yes, if it's a primary matter of faith, absolutely hold fast, stand firm. But even then, in your firmness, be firm, but also gentle and loving. And especially then, if it's not one of those primary matters that's, the topic of conversation or debate, then just hold on to things loosely. And never forget that the Lord is sovereign. I'm not saying don't care. I'm not saying don't, take the time to understand why you believe what you do. Please do take the time to believe, whether it's a doctrine or whatever it is. Understand why you believe the way you believe, but then never lose sight of the fact that the Lord is sovereign and he does not need you to fight his battles for him. So be peaceable and generous in your graciousness and mercy toward other people. that they can see the peace of God within you, which will then serve to give you a good hearing when you are able to speak of those primary matters of sin and salvation, of God's justice and grace. With all this in mind, friends, I beg you to have a peaceful day in addition to a good and godly one. I love you, and I look forward to seeing you next time.